The question we're looking at today is, are dinosaurs mentioned in the Bible? And an aura of mystery surrounds these creatures that at one time existed. This mystery and this fascination has captivated children and even captivated adults. It's led to many different museums being built to display these creatures. It's led to many different movies being produced. So there is an immense fascination with the dinosaurs. And the question is often brought up about the Bible and dinosaurs. Does the Bible actually refer to them? And really the question behind that is that from an evolutionary worldview, they would teach that dinosaurs never lived with humans. And I believe the Bible paints a very, very different picture than that, and gives a picture of a Earth that is much younger than what many evolutions would teach and propose. So let's examine this question in detail. Does the Bible mention dinosaurs? And the first thing that's interesting about dinosaurs, and some people would challenge the presupposition of this just in general and ask, well, did they really exist? And the easy answer to that is, well, of course they do. We have fossils. We've been able to put these things together and reconstruct them and display that they certainly do exist. But the interesting thing about dinosaurs is they were first discovered in the 1820s by a gentleman named Gideon Mantell. And then later, Dr. Richard Owen actually coined the name Dinosauria for their name, meaning a terrible lizard. So up until the 1800s, really right around 1820, there was no name for these animals because we didn't really discover them until then, from our point of view. But then when you take that idea of who the dinosaurs are and place it in the Bible, you can see that it's clear that the Bible does refer to them. Now, the Bible does not use the exact word dinosaur because, as I just mentioned, this was a word that did not come in existence until the 1800s. So really, to have a direct translation into dinosaur is very, very difficult because it's a newer word in our vocabulary as we know it. So that's important to understand. But the Hebrew word tanian, which is translated most commonly as sea monster, serpent, or dragon, is mentioned frequently in the Bible, and it's mentioned frequently in the Old Testament. In fact, right around 35 times, this word is used and spoken and shared in the Old Testament, which I believe is clearly referring to what we would now refer to as dinosaurs. And the book of Job, I think, gives probably the clearest description and picture of these animals. And in the book of Job, we read, "Behold, behemoth, which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold his strength in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar, and the sinews of his thighs are knit together." Here is a picture of an animal that we do not know today, but best fits a description of what we would refer to as dinosaurs. Now, some commentators and some people have said, well, it's possible that maybe the writer here is referring to an elephant or a hippopotamus. One thing that would clearly dispel that point of view would be when it says, he makes his tail stiff like a cedar. Hippopotamus and an elephant have tiny little tails. There's no way they can make their tail stiff like a cedar tree. There's no way they can make their tail like a tree trunk. But this describes many of the dinosaurs that we would know. So as we look through this, well, what does this mean for us today then? This means that the Bible teaches a record that dinosaurs existed and that dinosaurs lived with humans, dispelling the evolutionary worldview that they lived well before humans ever walked upon this earth.